Hello, Formula One, and all the F1 teams, circuits, and FIA. Thank you for coming here to listen to me today, as I tell you about what happened this weekend in what was formerly called the No Fun League, the National Football League, but they are no longer the No Fun League, because the NFL has embraced the lucrative opportunity of female fans, fangirls, and specifically Swifties, like our resident Nicole Katz. And the reason I've come to talk to you about this today is because we've been screaming for longer than even before we had this podcast about just how much we want F1 to acknowledge our existence. And we've told them if they lean into having female fans, that money comes with that, and attention and relevancy. Because young female fans, which I don't know if we classify as now because I feel old every single day, because I am not Gen Z, but I guess we still are under 50, so we are young, we're in our 20s. We bring the money. So what happened this week? Well, apparently Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, who is a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. He also has his own podcast, which is fantastic, and you should check it out. It's the New Heights podcast. His co-host is his brother, Jason Kelce, who I adore because he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, that aside. I can't wash the Go Birds off of me if I tried. Well, Taylor Swift decided, for fun, she was going to break the internet and show up to her alleged boyfriend's game and sit in the box next to his mom, who is a social media personality in her own right. Mama Kelce is the best. And I just want to give you some stats of how much this broke the internet. 7% of the content the NFL put out on Sunday, which is the day if you don't watch NFL, 56% of their engagement came from 7% of their posts. And those were the posts about Taylor Swift. And if you asked anyone who the audience of the NFL is, well, they would say old, mostly white men. And guess what? That's not true, because now it is Swifties. Swifties now run the NFL. These 7% of posts that made up 56% of the engagement on Sunday created 109 million impressions on social media, 8.66 million engagements. That's a lot of people. And this is all because the NFL saw the biggest pop star in the world, who has a predominantly non-straight male fan base, and said, you know what we should do? We should post about that. And those 7% of the posts, 56% of the engagement. And you're like, Brianna, lucrative. I see. That's a lot of impressions. That's a big deal. What else does this mean? Well, the Chiefs blew out the Bears. And all I need to tell you is that the Bears are probably the worst team in the NFL this season. At least they're in consideration for the bottom 3 worst teams. This is like if Red Bull decided to race against an F2 team this year. Is kind of what this game was. It was in the slot of the day where the most games are going on. It's the 1 p.m. slot. It's the whatever. There's not probably only a couple exciting games going on, and it got 24.3 million viewers. It got more viewership than the highlighted primetime games this week, because a bunch of women aged 12 to 49 decided, let's go watch a blowout of a football game that I've never cared about before because Taylor Swift is in the stands. I was sitting there watching this thing called Red Zone, if you're not a football fan, which takes you to every game and to the most exciting points of every game. They broke through an actual touchdown drive to go show me a video of Taylor Swift cheering in the stands for Travis Kelce. No, I didn't actually see the play. I just saw Taylor Swift. That's what they decided to show me. Travis Kelce, his jersey sales are now in the top 5 in the league, which they weren't before. His podcast hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. It has surpassed most of the murder podcasts in the rankings. It's going to be the #1 podcast in the world this week when it drops. Female fans are lucrative. And F1, please learn from this. Please. Because this is fun over here, and I want to have fun in F1 too.
I loved this soapbox. This is my favorite soapbox that we have ever soapboxed in the soapbox segment of soapboxing.
I can't believe you let me have this soapbox. When I said, can I soapbox about this? And you said yes without hesitation. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the one to soapbox about Taylor Swift. Nicole said yes.
It's too close to home. There's too much. I would get too excited because it's all not real. The amount of my timeline has become this madness of football posting about Taylor Swift accounts posting about football. There's European Swifties asking about how to understand American football. It's crazy. I have never seen my interests overlap this way, and it's the most unbelievable thing in the world. I mean, I definitely did not anticipate the NFL leaning into it as much as they did, and ESPN leaning to it as much as they did. I even as an unbelievable diehard Swiftie forever, probably one of the first things I would describe myself as when introducing to somebody, am so surprised that companies, particularly the NFL, are taking advantage of this as much as they are. And I love it, and it makes me feel seen as a fan and as someone that dedicates their weekends to watching football to suddenly have all of my interests. How are my Sundays going to be able to be like F1 games and then football games where it's football, but then maybe Taylor Swift is also there having a whole lot of fun? And there are fewer things in this world that make me as happy as football and seeing Taylor Swift having a lot of fun. It's Sundays have become my favorite day of the week, and I hope it continues, but I'll throw my money at it. I'll throw my money at it for it to continue, which is why, hi F1.
We talked a couple weeks ago, if we remember, we'll link the episode in the show notes, that we were talking about Coda leaning into friendship bracelets and why this was a big deal and how this was financially lucrative, and it was a very targeted message at specifically female fans. And the reason we want to talk about this NFL Taylor Swift story on our podcast, besides the fact that we're freaking out, is because the feeling I had as, I just was thinking of 8-year-old, 10-year-old Brianna who would see, who was constantly told that football is not for me, that I shouldn't be a sports fan. If I would have known that now, as an adult, I would get to watch the NFL put in their bio, NFL Taylor's version.
Yeah. NFL Taylor's version, 9/24/23, Taylor was here.
It doesn't feel
crazy.
real.
It doesn't.
And the emotions and the happiness that it brings me, it's such a great example of a league that you wouldn't think would do this. Latch on to an ability to market to 50% of the population and say, go and do it. And the numbers show that it worked. And so F1, do it. Lean into it.
Invite Taylor Swift back to Coda. Just kidding. Not gonna happen. But I
mean, she turned down the Super Bowl, so I don't think...
He's in Japan! Can't happen this year. Eventually.
She doesn't need it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the whole other part of this. They announced Usher as the halftime show. I think there's probably gonna be people on, listening to Gridwalk that learn that Usher is the halftime performer because the NFL talked more about Taylor Swift seemingly eating ranch and chicken fingers than Kim Kardashian announcing Usher as the halftime show. All of it is so ironic and hysterical to me, but the power... Seemingly ranch. Thank you for listening to this highlight from episode 36 of Gridwalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a bunch more F1 videos. Also, you've made it this far in this video. Just go watch the rest of the podcast. You're missing out on probably some of the best stuff. And it's right here. You can click right here. Ready? Follow my hand. Ready? Click, 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 click.